Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Unofficial Beausejour Senior Hockey League Podcast. I'm your host, Corey, joined by my co-host, Corey.
The one and only, I guess?
The one and only with the misspelled name?
I guess so, huh?
Corey, we are 1 week and a day out from the start of the season.
It's finally here. It's finally here.
It's time. God. We have a lot of exciting content coming to you guys next week. I'm not going to reveal what's planned or what's already been recorded, but be sure to tune in on Tuesday and Thursday of next week because we do have 2 more episodes coming up on those 2 days.
Yep.
Today's episode is kind of there's a lot. We're just going to kind of go over what each team has been announcing, who's coming back, what the imports are. The imports is really saying. How do you feel about the import rule, Corey, now that you understand it better?
I'm okay with it. I have really no problems with it. I think it'll help some teams. I don't think, like, there are some teams that are real powerhouses and we're going to be good anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the Hawks, they were pretty stacked already. And now getting Tyler Brown, that's a big get right there. And Jeremy Hebert too.
Look at Corey popping the news early. We haven't even talked about that yet. So I think it might bring a little more competitiveness to the league. I don't think there was really like a bad team last year though. I think it was competitive. Any team could have won on any night. We saw Spring Hill beat most teams. We saw River Valley beat most teams. We saw the Northern.
I think the only teams that really had somewhat of a disadvantage is the teams that showed up late to the season.
Yeah, but Trackety even gave a hell of a battle to most teams. They're a very talented team. Shippigan, Dalhousie, in my opinion, still, it's hockey. On any night, anyone can win. Whoever works harder can win. I do love that. Maybe we'll see a little bit more goal scoring. I could see it being an issue with the new rule. For clarity, for anybody that's listening and doesn't understand it, you're allowed to have 2 imports per team as long as one of those imports is a goalie. It can be tough to get a goalie in every region, I suppose.
Yeah. Most teams have like pretty good goalies. I don't know who would be the team that would be like the worst in net.
There's nobody looks out of place in goal.
Exactly.
There are definitely the best goalies in the league. I think about Josh Doyle. I think about Collette. In my opinion, that's 1, 2.
Yeah.
There's a slight drop after that, but the Hawks have great goaltending. I'm interested to see who comes into play and what that does for the league. So 1 week from tomorrow, we've got Bucktouche in Miramichi, and we have River Valley in Trackety. If you're anywhere near any of those regions, get out to those games, have some fun, kick off the league with some big crowds. That's what I want to see. I'm going to be in Miramichi.
Nice.
Corey might be in Miramichi with me. We're going to see what happens with his schedule. The following night, River Valley against Miramichi in River Valley. That's, in my opinion, the game of the weekend.
And I will be there for that one, no doubt.
Can't wait for that. All right, let's get into some of the teams. So we already started talking about the Hawks. Tyler Brown is the import player. Forward,
yeah.
Makes sense for the Hawks to take a forward for their import.
Yeah, and it depends on who else is coming. We know a few guys coming back. But Tyler Brown is a huge add to them. Hard-hitting guy, he's fast, he can move the puck. I don't see any problems with this guy as a Hawk at all.
No, he really fits. He plays a pretty hard edge, kind of big hitter. He's not scared to get in there. He scores some goals. He's a pretty fast player. I think it's going to be a heck of a good signing. Also returning for the Hawks forwards, Wayne Jones, one of your favorites.
Absolutely.
Great two-way forward.
Absolutely.
Brett Bernard's going to be back. Creighton Sanapass is going to be back. That's a huge one. Creighton can play third line. He can play first line. He can play power play. He can play penalty kill. It's just really one of those guys.
One of those guys that you notice on the ice too.
Yeah, for sure. He's got some good speed.
Yeah.
Chasen Levi is going to be back. Yep. Marc-Andre Arsenault and Tristan Joseph. So there we see, 6, 7, 8 guys that are back up front for the Hawks. What name sticks out to you?
Marc-Andre.
Marc-Andre Arsenault.
Marc-Andre Arsenault and Wayne are the two guys that really caught my eye immediately, because when we were watching them with the Hawks last year, you would see the big names. You would see Robbie Graham. You would see Mackenzie Brown. You would see Scotty Sack. But these guys would be there I don't know how to explain this, but they were the how could I say this? They were the goals that you never noticed. They were the guys that put up points that you never notice. And then when you did notice, you were like, oh man, these guys are pretty friggin' good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you sit and look at the stats, you're like, wow, he had a pretty good season actually. But kind of
underrated is the word I was looking for.
Very underrated
players.
Very important to the team.
Very.
On defense, the Hawks might be the best defensive team in the league last year. Probably will be the best defensive team in the league this year. Announced already, we have Elijah Francis is back. That makes you happy. Yeah. Trey Lewis is back. Justin Guitar and Andy Joseph. With that, I have one question. Will we see the pass the puck along the blue line from Trey and Elijah Francis?
Absolutely. That's tradition now.
Oh man, it was so fun watching them, and then when they'd hit it, the crowd would actually cheer. Hilarious.
I think they hit it only once.
They hit it a couple times. They hit it in Bucktouche. They hit it in Spring Hill. It's fun to watch. It's good to see them having fun out there. So last weekend, the Hawks had their scrimmage with the Junior Seahawks.
Yes.
And I got out to it with Cheryl. You didn't get out to it, but I did discuss it with you a lot and sent you some videos. Took a lot of videos. You can find them on my TikTok. You can find them on YouTube. There's lots of stuff out there now. It hasn't been announced yet, but Robbie Graham was on the ice with the Hawks.
Yeah, it hasn't been announced. Wasn't Bruno there as well?
Bruno was there, and so was Sawyer Hanna. None of these have been announced officially, but it gives, for you Hawks fans out there, gives you a little bit of hope that maybe those guys are going to be back. We don't know about some other big names. We don't know about Mac Brown.
No.
We haven't heard anything about Danik Crate. Yeah, Danik is a big one. And
that's one that people are most excited to see. Is he coming back? Is he not? Because he was really the fan favorite.
Yeah, he became pretty popular. It was what a season that was last year. There was also a goalie with a beautifully painted mask.
Oh, yes.
Beautifully.
That and send it to me immediately.
Yeah, I'll throw the picture of the mask up at this point in the video so you guys can check it out while you're watching it. If you're listening to the podcast and you're interested in seeing it, head over to my YouTube channel, watch that video, hit this point, and I'll have it there. It's I love stuff like that. I love seeing teams that have this beautiful. I remember Dalhousie last year with their Sweden-looking jerseys, and I remember their goalie had a beautiful mask.
Yeah. Well, you didn't explain the helmet. It's like a glossy black with the Hawks logo on the side. It reminds me almost like a football helmet.
Yeah. It's really well done. Very nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So let's move on here. We'll just move slightly south. We'll talk about the JCs.
Sure.
The JCs haven't really announced anything yet.
Anything but Corey doing his research
I had a
as
conversation. I had a conversation with someone, and I found out that Matt Newcomb has apparently gone to play pro hockey in Germany.
That's a
Uh,
huge. If he is really not back with the JCs, that is a huge blow.
yeah, that's their. So in that situation, I have to think that they're probably gonna want their import to be a forward. I would assume
I'd guess so. Yeah.
to kind of replace that. With the one forward, one goalie rule, the JCs don't need a goalie.
No.
Corey just
Yeah.
looked at me like, "Are you crazy?" No, the yeah, if there's any team, they don't need a goalie. So that's all we have for the JCs. We just have Matt Newcomb probably not being back. And then we go a little further south. Spring Hill doesn't really have very much announced, but they have released a little bit of information. Oh, also to follow up, the JCs, if you're listening to this on Thursday, they have a fan event on Saturday at 7:40 at the JK Irving. There's a practice from 7:40 to 8:40, and then from 8:40 to 9:10, they're inviting kids to get on the ice and skate with the JCs. So if you're listening to this, get out there, have some fun, meet the JCs. They're gonna have pizza and drinks for a really good price.
Yeah.
Be sure to go out there and enjoy that. I don't know if we're gonna check that out. We'll see.
We could.
We definitely could
Saturday
get
usually
some
finish.
get some videos for the people that couldn't make it. We'll see what happens here. I'm loading up the coal miners Facebook because I know they did have something announced. I know their captain's back, Robert Davis.
Robert Davis.
Not official, but in pictures I've seen him out there. So that's a big one. He's a terrifying player. I would not want to drop the gloves with that dude.
Where's the last time we saw him?
Oh, that was in Spring Hill at a wrestling show.
Yep.
Where some mascot dropped a really good stunner.
Yeah.
God, gotta love Digger.
I think he's trained or something.
So that's all we have for Spring Hill. They had an intra-squad game last weekend. Couldn't get out to it. Hopefully they have something else, but they start their season next year. They started next year. Oh, we're off for the year. They start their season next week. I need to slow down just a little. Let's talk Miramichi next.
Sure.
They've had just a slew of announcements. I think the biggest announcement is that Nick Foran's back.
Yeah.
Just one of the toughest guys in the league. A really good defenseman who can score some goals too. Their import goalie is going to be Daniel Beausejour from your neck of the woods.
What's funny about that is Daniel Beausejour from Saint Louis. My first cousin is named Daniel Beausejour from Saint Louis. Two completely different people. I know he played for the Titans, right?
Daniel, yeah, he played for the Titans. Played a lot. Played his minor hockey here. Good goaltender. Good signing for Miramichi.
I've seen him a few times against the Wildcat.
And then they also have import. Alexandre Bernier is signed. I'm pulling up more information right now. He's a former Aigle Bleu. He's a defenseman. Played 3 seasons for these Aigle Bleu. Played for the St. John Sea Dogs in the QMJHL. So that's a pretty big signing for them. That gives them a little more stability at the blue line.
Yeah, it can hurt.
And there's lots of other stuff announced by them. If you haven't checked it out, go to their Facebook page, the Miramichi Mike's Bar and Grill Northman. They're very active on Facebook. They've got a fantastic page. I saw that Josh Russell, who played for the Grand Falls Rapids in the Maritime Junior A League, he's going to be a rookie for them this year. So it's a pretty big one. He's a young guy. He's going to have to adjust to the style of play in senior with it being a little more hard hitting, but he could be one to watch for sure.
Quick question for Miramichi.
Yep.
Would you consider them a favorite?
They're a contender.
They're a contender for sure. Last year they played pretty well. That was my first game that I saw was Miramichi and LC. And it was close. It was really close.
Yeah. That's one thing about the league. Even with LC going on that crazy win streak, so many of those games were 1-goal games. The league is very
Mhm.
competitive, more competitive than people think. I think Miramichi, if they had one weakness, it might have been in goaltending. Their defense is solid. Sometimes they struggle to score some goals. I saw them 4 or 5 times last year. I saw Kevin Lozier's back. He's been skating the blue line for the Northmen for a few years. He plays baseball in Miramichi. It should be great. They've got all their defensemen announced now, so we're just gonna be moving to the forwards for them tomorrow. And yeah, I saw they signed Jonathan Hebert, who played senior hockey for Bay St. Anne. And
Really? I
I
did
gotta
not see.
tell you, he is a Robert Davis, Nick Foran.
Okay.
He's a Trey Lewis kind of. Not a huge offensive upside. He can score some goals, but he's one of those guys that's going to keep people honest. He's going to play some pretty tough D back there, and maybe he'll drop the gloves instead of Nick Foran dropping the gloves, because Nick Foran is so valuable as a leader to that team.
Yeah. 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 You in this league especially kind of need uh I hate to use the word enforcer, but you kind of need someone like that
Yeah,
to, you know, to
it's
drop the
part of
gloves
the
on
league.
you. It is. It is.
It draws
It'll
people
never
in.
go.
No, not in senior hockey. It draws people in. It's part of the game. Keeps people honest. Keeps people from taking that dirty hit.
Yeah.
I'd hate to see it leave. I don't think we'll see it leave anytime soon.
Me personally. Yeah. Same here. What's the new rule in the CHL where if you fight, you're ejected or something like that?
You fight, you're ejected, and then I think it's a 1-game suspension. After your second fight, it's a longer suspension. It's a pretty stiff rule. I'd be shocked to see that happen in the NHL, and I'd be shocked to see that happen, obviously, in the Beausejour Senior League. But
Yeah.
we're heading that way with hockey, I suppose. Hockey's changed.
Yeah.
If you just flip on a channel sometime and watch a hockey game from the late 90s, you were telling me you were watching a game and people were just like hooking on, holding on,
It
going for a
was
skate.
Eric Lindros. It was a game. It might have been a playoff game where there's an empty net. I forget who the other team was. And Lindros just sticks his stick right in the guy's stomach and pulls himself forward, pulling the guy back, and scores an empty netter. By that point, I'm still a kid. So this game happened. I was maybe 9, maybe 8. And I don't remember this as a kid as much because when I was watching hockey, I wasn't following the rules or didn't know the rules or things like that. But when I saw that like a few weeks ago, I was like, wait, that's hooking. Where's the ref? Where's the call?
You're like, that's not
And
fair.
you're talking about 25 years ago.
Yeah.
The league has changed immensely since then.
Yeah, you used to see pinning on the boards where guys would just
Yeah.
basically hold each other into the boards for 30 seconds. It's a better NHL now, I suppose. I like the fighting. I hope the fighting stays. Um, so we'll move over to Ship again next, I guess. They don't have
Yeah.
a lot of announcements either. They announced that their captain, Patrick Jones, is back. Last year, he was a point per game guy. He had 6 goals, 11 assists, 17 points.
They just announced that like 2 or 3 hours ago.
Yeah. So
Right before we started recording, I saw that on Facebook myself. So
yeah,
that's a great thing for them. Great leader on the ice. Like you said, point per game player.
yeah,
Nothing but a positive return there.
hopefully we'll have more to bring you next Thursday for our
Yeah.
season preview. Week 1 preview.
One.
Cannot wait for the week 1 preview. The track of the Alpines, we've already kind of gone over it. They don't have a lot more announced. They do have Jeremy Duguay coming into play, played for the Wynanoda. Um, youngster Alex Savoie is going to be played for the Amherst Ramblers, and I think the Edmonton Blizzard in the past in the MJHL. So
Yeah.
they're going to be a good young team, competitive team. They're the North Division champions last year, so they're going to contend again.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm curious to see the Alpine versus the Hawks, because that's the match we didn't get to see, the finals that we didn't get to see. It's lost to time now. So I think there's going to be some competitiveness on who's the champion from last year. I think those games are going to be must watch.
Yeah, this is going to be really fun to watch. Dalhousie, huge signing for
Big signing, yeah.
Dalhousie. They've got a couple big ones. Pascal Valcourt is a great player, young player. He's going to light up the league, I'm sure. And Chad Denny has signed with
Yep.
the Dalhousie Marauders.
You were
That's
talking about they're signing a guy, and you were like, I don't want to say anything before it's official. And as you were saying that, you were like, oh, it's already official.
I missed when they announced it, but yeah, they've got some returning players. Val Pelletier is back. He was a founding member of the Marauders. Good forward. You know, it should be. If I think about those northern teams, Dalhousie was probably one that struggled a little bit last year.
Yeah.
They're
We saw
gonna.
it once, right?
That was the game that Sawyer
That was
went,
one of the funner
basically.
games.
Yeah, it was a very, very violent game. They're a good team, competitive team. I think this year they're going to be very very tough. I know Joey Bernard is back. He's nothing to mess with, Joey Bernard.
Chad Denny, draft pick of the Atlanta Thrashers, you said, right?
Yep, draft pick of the Atlanta Thrashers, played for Lewiston Maniacs. He just lit the lamp for the Maniacs. Let me look up
Yeah.
the stats. I remember I was going to a ton of Wildcats games back then, and when Chad Denny would come to Moncton, he'd have just a huge crowd of people there watching him. And he was so as a rookie, he had 3 goals, 6 assists, defenseman. His third year, 62 games played, 19 goals, 28 assists for 47 points. His final year, 06-07, 59 games played, 17 goals, 48 assists for 65 points.
Wow.
He was a very, very good and a solid defensive defenseman, but a great offensive defenseman. He could be the best player in the league. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see him play.
Depends on few players if they're coming back to the Hawks or not, because you got some players on the Hawks that are just unreal sometimes.
Mac Brown.
Mac Brown, Danick Crate, Robbie Graham. We know he's already. Well, no, he's not been announced, right?
Has been announced. He was at that skate, like we said, but I think those are all big names. Those are all great players, and they're at the same caliber of player that Chad Denny is. So it should be interesting. Should be interesting to see. I can't wait to see who gets the most valuable player in the league this year. It should be very competitive. So that'll be fun. Let's slide on over now. Talk a little bit about one of my favorite teams, the River Valley Lumberjacks.
All right.
I can't wait to be there next Saturday night and watch that Lumberjacks versus Northmen. So they announced their captain, Benji Curtis, is back.
Okay.
Solid, huge leader for them. Can drop the gloves. Doesn't necessarily do that very often. It's not that kind of player, but he's a good one.
Yeah.
Their leading scorer last year, Zach Whitlock, is back as well. And the have you seen their announcements? They're doing an interesting thing where they were like asking the guys questions.
You've talked to me about this, but I haven't seen it.
I love I love the pineapple on pizza question. Pineapple. First of all, pineapple on pizza. Corey, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, for me too. I like pineapple on pizza.
I don't see any problem with it.
So they're asking that, coffee or tea, what their favorite food is, chicken nuggets and fries for Whitlock. I'm down for chicken nuggets and fries.
Favorite food of all time?
I mean, that's what he said. I'm not here to judge.
Pass. I couldn't answer that. Tea or coffee? Coffee.
I saw that yesterday, Kenny Robinson was up here. He's not up here right now, so I don't know why he was removed. But one of his answers was, who do you want to go to? If you could go to dinner with one person, past or present, who would it be? And his answer was Devin Munn, which made me laugh. And then something about, like, they both go to the buffet. Like, dude, count me in. I love some buffet. I love that they're doing this with their players. Kind of gives the fans another side of them, get to know them a little bit. And it, it's a good laugh. Their Facebook page is also very active, very fun. They've got a merch collab with Miramichi River Life. They've got some hoodies coming out that look absolutely beautiful. So, if you're a Lumberjack fan, get out there, buy some merch, support the team. Get out there next Saturday night. I think they start the season in Trackety, though. They're on the road in Trackety. I'm almost positive. But then they have that home game the next night. Oh man. So that's a lot. There's been a lot of announcements in the last few days.
And there's more to come, too.
Oh, every day. I feel like every time I open up Facebook, there's more, and I'm jotting down more notes.
Yep.
Yeah, River Valley is in Trackety at the Dion at 8 p.m. on Friday.
Not the Fanouf.
not the Dion Fanouf. God. They named an arena after Dion Phaneuf in Trackety. That would be some random stuff.
You heard it here first, folks.
Good God, help us all. So that's about all that we have tonight. Corey, 1 week out, how you feeling?
Excited, very excited. Like I said, next week is probably my last week of work. It's been a rough season for us shop workers, so some hockey coming up. It'll be the cure, just what the doctor ordered.
Just what the doctor ordered. Same week, I think. Does the NHL kick off next week as well?
Montreal and Toronto is next Wednesday.
Yeah, so that's kicking off. The Junior C League for the Junior Hawks is kicking off. I know the Kent Coyotes are kicking off. Like, just so much hockey. Too much hockey. You can't get to everything that you'd want to get to. That's the tough part of being a hockey fan.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have. So that's all we have for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for your continued support. Next week, we will have some team interviews.
Yep.
So be sure to tune in on Tuesday. Those should come out around 7 o'clock on Tuesday. This one's coming out, probably be up around 8 o'clock on Thursday, the 5th of October. And then next Thursday, we're going to be doing our week 1 preview leading up to the first weekend. And we'll talk about our game of the week. We'll talk about where we're going to be, what games we're going to be watching. And man, I can't wait. Corey, thank you.
Can't wait either. Thank you for having me again.
My pleasure. Thank you for listening. We'll be back.
Take care.